In this great country of ours, we are proud of our rich and varied history. It's what us Brits are known for all around the world. But believe it or not, there are some individuals out there who do not share that respect for our heritage. I'll tell you what, makes you ashamed. For more than 150 years, Shoreham Fort has stood on the Sussex coastline. It was built to defend this land from enemy invasion, and it's the last of its kind still standing. The soldiers are now long gone, but these days it's staffed by an army of volunteers who are battling a different enemy. Those set on covering these ancient walls with graffiti.
Graffiti is a very difficult crime to actually catch people for, and graffiti on heritage sites can cause untold damage.
And for one local resident whose boyhood imagination was fed by every story held within the ruined stones, the destruction is devastating.
It's hard to just even put words to it. These people have defaced something that we work so hard to try and keep.
Shoreham Fort has been a special part of Gary's life ever since he can remember.
I actually came here when I was 4 years old. My grandfather brought me here, and I can remember walking around the fort, running down this bank as he walked along the beach like he was a soldier. I can actually remember using his walking stick as a gun and pointing the walking stick through the rifle loops, trying to shoot at him like he was a soldier.
But as Gary grew up, it seemed he was the only one who had a passion for this 155-year-old shell of a fort.
The fort was in pretty dire straits, actually, and parts of it were starting to fall to pieces. There was no access to the tunnels underneath the fort, which kept the gun emplacements. And it was slowly filling up with beach material, so you could barely see the shape of the fort.
Finally, in 2010, on his 30th birthday, Gary came up with a plan to safeguard the fort's future by setting up a charity, Friends of Shoreham Fort, who work tirelessly to preserve the site and to continue to uncover its hidden past.
He enthuses a lot of other people. He's a man who can talk to anybody about this because he is so passionate about it, and indeed we all are.
But there's the Martini Henry carbine with the lever action at the back. In go the rounds and then pinch fire.
He has researched this site incredibly, and he gives these talks, and every time I go and listen to him you learn something new. He's really made this site come back to life, and his passion, his enthusiasm is infectious.
It was actually believed that Napoleon III sent a spy to Shoreham Fort. He looked at the design once he got here, went back to Napoleon III and said, "Don't chance it, go inland," which is exactly what Napoleon III did, starting the Franco-Prussian War.
It's the sort of place that once you come to, you don't actually leave because the passion of the history grabs you.
So you could say that it's down to Shoreham Fort that we're not speaking French.
But it seems all the shared passion and hard work that's gone into bringing this ancient fort back to life has not been enough to put off the vicious vandalism that has stopped this loyal band of volunteers in their tracks. One summer evening, the newly restored lime mortar walls were targeted by a graffiti hooligan.
The National Coast Watch, they called Sussex Police after seeing a rowdy group down at the fort that they felt may have been up to no good, and felt that it needed a police response down there. Officers were then dispatched to the fort. When they arrived, they found the fort had been graffitied. They then found someone down there that was there with spray cans. With that and the graffiti that was on the fort, he was arrested.
The first reaction was to come down here and see the damage for myself. And when I got down here, it wasn't just graffiti. These murals were bigger than me in some places, and I couldn't believe what lengths people would go to deface our history.
What is really galling is when all these people doing all this hard work, and then mindless hooligans who come along and leave graffiti on heritage sites like this for some, you know, kick. It's just crazy.
His graffiti tags all over the fort, claiming that it was his right to do so. And obviously that can't be right. He can do it in his own home if he likes, but to do it on a much-loved ancient monument is clearly wrong.
He was interviewed, and then sufficient evidence was gathered and he was charged with the offence of criminal damage. Subsequently, he was prosecuted by the courts, which was a great relief to everyone involved.
The 43-year-old vandal was ordered to pay compensation and costs of £440.
Well, I was absolutely ecstatic that someone was caught with doing this. The police worked so hard, and then the community afterwards have just been so good at trying to protect the fort, making sure that it's used quite regularly. There's people here on site so that this sort of thing doesn't happen again.
What's interesting about sites like this is when you see them come back to life, and when the local community really take an interest in it, then the biggest deterrent for vandals and crooks who want to undermine it is usually the community taking ownership of it.
Although the local community around here do call us, they're not here 24/7, so we do have to keep an eye on what's going on. Also, it's nice for the local community to see the police taking an interest in the issues that are causing problems for them. And if people know that we're down here, they're less likely to come and target the fort for damage, and more likely to enjoy the fort for what it is. So for today, the fort is safe.